This is the Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealer.
You know, I'm blessed with the opportunity to get to fish out of some of the best nitro and tracker fishing boats manufactured in the entire world. But on our Facebook page in the last couple of weeks, I've been reminded by a couple of our fans that not everyone has access to a boat, and some folks just enjoy the experience of shoreline fishing. So today's show is dedicated to bank fishermen everywhere as we talk about tips, tactics, and techniques that will give you your best opportunity to catch fish from the shoreline. Hi everybody, this is your Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by Chevy. And while we're out talking about bank fishing today, we're going to be taking you around the region for this week's latest fishing reports. Also this week on the Lowrance Hot Lake of the Week, we'll show you a Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area lake that's one of the hottest white bass and hybrid striper lakes in our region. On Barry's Real Fishing, it's a Texas Parks and Wildlife feature on Boy Scouts Gone Red Fishing. And on the Big Catch of the Week, we'll show you a giant redfish from the Galveston area. But first up in the batter's box, here's Heather back at the FSN Studios with your Chevy Weekend Planner.
According to the Salinar tables, the best fishing times this weekend will take place right around the lunch hour, beginning at 11:55 on Saturday and 12:55 on Sunday. The sun will rise at 7:27 and set at 7:01. We just had a new moon on Tuesday, so the night skies will be dark with a crescent moon only 5% illuminated. Now back to Barry on the bank.
Well, as you can see, just right over my left shoulder, somebody has walked up and started doing a little bank fishing on a beautiful, crisp fall morning with a little wind blowing. I mentioned a couple of minutes ago that some fans commented on our Facebook page about bank fishing, and you are going to want to follow us on Facebook. Why? A couple of reasons. One, we're going to be posting preview sneak peek video every week. You'll be the first to get to see footage of each week's episode along with a still photo package. And in addition to that, we'll be posting a lot of information on Facebook that you won't see on our television show. Find us on Facebook, and once you get our page up, at the very top, right beside the title, click on the like button. Once you do that, you'll have your own wall, and every time we post something on Facebook, it will come up on your wall. It's easy to follow us there, along with being a fan on our regular website at southwestoutdoorsreport.com, where you'll get all my weekly blogs, all the information about the show each week. Hey, technology at its best. Follow us on Southwest Outdoors Report. Stay with us. When we come back, I'll have your Lowrance Hot Lake of the Week, and Gary Dollahan will have your Oklahoma fishing and lake reports.
This is the Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealer.
We're talking about shoreline fishing on this week's episode, and the first factor that is critically important is where you choose to fish. You need to choose an area that has cover. What do I mean by cover? Just over my left shoulder, the right side of your screen, you'll see some rock riprap going down into the water. That is excellent cover for all species of game fish. Secondly, over my other shoulder on the left side of your screen, you'll see some trees and stumps sticking up out of the water, and there are many more between there and the shoreline. Those also provide excellent cover, excellent protection for both bait fish, and then that attracts the game fish. So choose a location with some cover. Secondly, let's talk about the rod and reel you want to choose. I like a spinning rod for shoreline fishing. Why? Because you can cast a lot further with a spinning rod than you can a bait caster. Next, you want to use a rod with some backbone. This is about a 6.5 foot Fenwick Elite Tech rod with a lot of backbone right here toward the butt of the rod so that you can load it up and make those long casts. And finally, you want to choose a line that's a little heavier than you would use in a boat, because if you get snagged, you want at least a chance to pull that lure loose without breaking your line. And if you hook a big fish, you want a good chance of getting him in, because remember, you can't go to him, you've got to bring him to you. Okay, first up in Oklahoma, here's Gary Dollahan with the Sooner Beat.
live in or near the state of Oklahoma, you've got to be taking advantage of this weather and the fishing we have going on across the state. It's really been quite amazing. The bass fishing is really picking up. That's something I want you to concentrate on this week, because this is the time of year when the bass really get active and are active along the banks, making them available to both boaters and non-boaters. Water showing up as far as good fishing lakes: Grand Lake, Fort Gibson Lake, Greenleaf, Weber's Falls, Eufaula, Arcadia. All of those are showing good bass fishing right now, and I expect others to be showing up just in the next few days because everything is really getting quite active. What you need to be doing now, and possibly unlike what you've been doing the last month or so, is really shallow up. Throw a topwater bait like a buzz bait, works extremely well right now. Also have a lipless vibrating crankbait on, have a soft plastic jerk bait, and also have a soft plastic that you have pegged with a sinker that you can throw against isolated pieces of structure when you're going down that bait. What's happening is that the fish are really moving in and out with the shad. They're very shallow. Don't hesitate to be fishing 2 to 3 feet of water, and don't hesitate to fish banks that look like they have nothing on them at all. Do pay special attention to your shorebirds and also shad activity in those shallows. One thing about them, you can't catch them if you don't go.
There have been some really good fishing reports for white bass and hybrid stripers coming in the last couple of weeks from one of the best hybrid and white bass lakes in our region, Lake Louisville, located just north of Dallas, just south of Denton, Texas. And it's this week's Lowrance Hot Lake of the Week. Let's locate it for you right now on the Lowrance HDS-10, like I have with me all the time on my Nitro bass boat. You can see the lake is located along I-35E, and it runs all the way up to Highway 380 way up on the north end. The area we'll highlight for white bass and hybrids is the lower end of the lake near the main lake point. Now we switch to the Navionics Hot Maps Platinum card with the satellite photo option enabled. The dam is at the bottom of the screen, and this area is just one of the good white and hybrid spots on the lake. Now we zoom in a little to locate some good points between the two arms of the lake. But here's the real deal. There are a lot of good humps on the main flat off the Trinity River channel here. Fish can be found in schools roaming these flats and on the humps. And you'll know you're in the right area if you see the big pole sticking out of the water right here. It's the only thing in the area. Now you'll want to keep an eye out for white gulls diving at the water, fish chasing bait at the surface, or if all else fails, find them on your sonar unit. That's this week's Lowrance Hot Lake of the Week, Lake Louisville in Texas. Up next, Cajun Phil and Kevin are in Louisiana with your weekly fishing reports from there, and we'll see some Boy Scouts and redfish on Barry's Real Fishing.
The Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealers, is brought to you by quality award-winning Tracker boats. Fish the finest. By Lowrance, makers of the HDS, high-definition systems. And by Jean LaRue Lures and Bobby Garland Baits, quality soft plastic baits made in Oklahoma with American pride.
Hey, welcome back everybody. One of the biggest mistakes that I see shore fishermen make is choosing an area that's too shallow. You want to find a place that does slope off the shoreline and have some good depth to it. In order to find that place, you're going to need the right tools. Here are a couple of options. First of all, you'll need a Nav Planner 2 set of software for your computer at home. This software comes with a card reader, and it allows you to access all of the lakes in our region. Now you'll need to get a Navionics Hot Maps Platinum card for your area to go in the reader. If you do that, you'll be able to find lots of coves on these lake maps, see the contours, and find some good depth. If you don't want to go that route and you have an iPhone, you can use the Navionics app for your iPhone like I have. It also allows you to access all the lakes in the region. You can zoom down, find a cove with some good depth. Let me show you a couple examples of what I'm talking about. First of all, here's what not to look for. This area has no steep drops, no good bottom contour. It's only 8 feet out in the middle of the cove. The contour lines are far apart, indicating a very gradual slope. This would not be a good area for shoreline fishing. The second example shows you a much sharper drop out to 30 feet with contour lines much closer together, indicating a much steeper slope. All right, next up is Cajun Phil and Kevin down in Louisiana, Cajun Bites.
Hi friends, Cajun Phil here with your Fox Louisiana Fishing Report. I tell you what, let's talk bass fishing. I called Joe Jocelyn, he's a guide up at Toledo Bend. Joe said, Cajun, right now Toledo Bend is on fire, catching lots of bass just about all day long, whether you want to throw plastics, whether you want to throw spinner baits, whether you want to throw the flat shad or the rattle trap, it doesn't matter. Right now they're catching bass on Toledo Bend. And he said, you know what? They're getting ready to drop the lake 4 to 5 feet to work on the dam. You know what happens when that does? All the water draws down, you can see all the creeks, you can see the points, you can see the road beds, you can see everything. Toledo Bend just going to get better and better as they start dropping that water. So keep in mind, that might be a place you want to try, Toledo Bend. As far as the saltwater action goes, I tell you what, I talked to Captain Jack down in Delacroix. He's limbing out with speckled trout just about every day. Talked to Kerry Automont at Hopedale. He's catching specks and reds just about every day. Tofield Bourgeois, he's on fire in Lafitte right now, catching lots of redfish. He said the marsh is just loaded with them. We talked to some guys down in Venice. They're going offshore. They're catching dolphin, wahoo, marlin, tuna, sailfish. This week alone, they caught like a dozen big, giant tarpon going over 150 pounds. So right now, Venice is on fire if you want to go offshore.
Kayaks are becoming more and more popular as a way to get to the best fishing spots on the coast. Recently, Texas Parks and Wildlife teamed up with some fly fishing experts to help teach a group of Boy Scouts from Austin a great red fishing technique. Lydia Saldana has more.
I'm Lefty Ray Chapa, and what we're going to do today is we're going to go through the Kayak for Redfish seminar.
On a hot, steamy morning in Port Aransas, Troop 17 learns what it means to be kayak fishermen.
This is hunting and stalking. Really not so much fishing, because we're going to go running around and try to find them. This is probably one of the coolest things you can see in Texas, next to maybe a 10-point deer.
First, they learn to kayak.
All of a sudden, my shoulders are coming into play.
On this one, just pause a little bit more and then come forward.
And then they learn to fish.
It's pretty tough to learn the first time, but I'm sure they're gonna have a lot of fun. This is how you'll hold it right like this, just like you're shaking somebody's hand.
Good morning.
And after all the hard work from the day before, the adventure begins early.
All right, let's go that way.
Boy Scouts, it's good. They can handle it, they can paddle it. They're out here on their own. It's like having your own boat on the water, in one way of looking at it. So it's a good overall experience.
And this is something the whole family can enjoy together.
Yeah, this is the perfect type of activity for moms because they have a little bit more patience than the boys, because the boys are gonna go right after it and real hard. Yeah, me. And so it's kind of interesting to put the two together. They kind of learn from each other.
But these skills will take practice.
And roll cast. That's your roll cast. See that? Yeah. Try that again.
And while the Scouts did not catch any redfish this trip, they did not go home empty-handed.
This is a black drum. This is actually a cousin to the redfish, so related to what we're chasing out here today.
At the end of a hot summer's day, there's always time for a swim.
This Boy Scout troop has been lots and lots of fun. It's been a very windy day, which the conditions weren't perfect for fly fishing, but we all had a good time and tried it anyway. And the spirit of the group was fantastic. It really shows that they're happy and relaxed in the outdoors, which is really the goal of taking kids out.
Here we go, 1, 2.
For Fox Sports Outdoors, this is Lydia Saldana reporting.
Stay with us. Brian Hughes and Bill Olson are on the way with fishing updates from the Lone Star State. And we've still got your Strin Ask the Pro featuring Gary Klein. But first, here's a look at the confirmed final standings in the scholarship divisions of this year's CCA State of Texas Anglers Rodeo.
The Southwest Outdoors Report, powered by your Texas Chevy dealers, is brought to you by Abu Garcia for life, by Navionics, we start where the road ends, by Whataburger, just like you like it, and by Mercury Outboards, #1 on the water.